if avoiding a certain food makes you actually eat 3 to 5 times more of a totally different food, and then, or ultimately end up eating that food anyways, or both, then it's probably not best to avoid that food. Even though that's something that seems like, you may be hearing everyone talking about how they avoided this food and I removed this from my diet and I got these great results. But if you cannot sustain that long term, that's not going to help you. So it may get the weight off temporarily, or it may reduce your bloat temporarily, or make you lose water weight temporarily. But either you're going to gain it back as soon as you go back to eating normal, or, like I said, you may end up avoiding it only to binge on it later. So that's something that we have been trained to not listen to that part of our body, to not listen to our cravings, to avoid things that we really, really want to eat. But if, like, say you are craving chocolate or a brownie all day long, and so you're thinking about it early on and you're like, I really want a brownie, but I'm gonna eat this apple instead. And then later on you're like, okay, I really want a brownie. You know what? I'm just gonna eat this, beef jerky or this chicken breast instead. I really want, the brownie, and you keep eating other things to avoid eating the brownie. And sometimes the things that you're eating aren't even really that healthy or good to you. And you're eating those. So you may end up eating, 3, 5 times more than you would have, trying to squash that craving. So you're eating this and you're eating that and you're eating that. And then at the end of the day, there's a brownie, and what do? You want to eat it. So if you end up eating the brownie and you ate all the other stuff, then not only did you eat extra calories, but you also ate the food anyway. So you don't want to go through where you're denying yourself something only to eat twice as much of it later. And maybe when you finally do eat the brownie, you eat 12 of them, or you eat 3 when maybe 1 would have done earlier. So that's the first common sense thing that I would say that a lot of us miss. Another one would be the same when it comes to exercise. In our pursuit for finding the perfect exercise, the perfect, like, what type of cardio should I do? Should I do HIIT, or should I run? Or, I'll run a half marathon, or I'll do and they start tossing around all these ideas, and you're doing research, and it's like, okay, HIIT is better, but when I, run, I burn more calories. And so you're comparing things in that way. And in this search for this perfect workout or perfect cardio, you may not notice that when you do a certain type of workout, maybe it makes you sit around more. So you've actually reduced your overall movement. So maybe you're a person that's fairly active during the day. Say that you have a job where you sit all day long, and then at the end of the day, you say, you know what, I'm gonna go for a run because I really need to burn off these calories. You go for like a 90-minute run, and then you plop on the couch. Well, that is not the same as if you have come home, maybe done a 30-minute workout, and then played around with the kids, and then went for a walk after dinner with your husband, like things like that. Those calories and that burn from what you're doing naturally, moving around all the time, is actually going to add up more than what that 90-minute workout was. The same thing goes for if you're the type of person that maybe you're doing the extreme HIIT and metabolic boot camp circuits and things like that, because you're hearing that those are all the rage. So you just want to do like those quick, like 15, 20-minute workouts, maybe like the body rock type workouts and all those. And maybe you're doing these quick 20-minute super intense workouts, and then you're not moving the rest of the day. Well, then you may have actually done better had you done a longer workout that was maybe less intense. So those are the things to consider, is that if your movement is truncated, and then it causes all the rest of your movement throughout the day to be less as well, then you're not really making a dent in the amount of activity that you're trying to put forth. So it really takes looking at the whole picture. How is that one action affecting you overall? If it's affecting you in a negative way, even if it's great scientifically or everyone else is getting great results from it, then you may want to consider the fact that it may not be great for you because of how it's affecting you overall. If a certain diet or removing something from your food causes you to be irritable and cranky and attack your kids and yell at your husband, and all you can do is think about food all day long, and when you finally do eat, like you avoid and then binge, avoid and then binge, and it's totally just screwing up your whole quality of life, that is something that you have to take into consideration, and you have to allow yourself to take on the common sense approach and say, you know what, that thing is not working for me. It doesn't matter how great everyone else is promoting it and how much everyone else is saying like that it's the best thing ever. It is not the best thing ever for you. So I really encourage you guys to take a more common sense approach. Think about how things are affecting your overall changes. Think about how they're affecting your mood. Think about how they're affecting your movement. If a workout makes you so sore that you can't work out for another 3 to 4 days, then maybe that's not the workout for you. Maybe you need to take it slow until your body adapts to that workout, and then you can add in more intense exercises. So I hope that makes sense. Sometimes we throw all caution to the wind and we throw all common sense to the wind because we want to do what everybody else is doing, or we want to do what the study says is the best thing ever. But if that's not working for you, then it's not working for you. Whether it's a way of eating, whether it's the amount of times a day you're eating, whether it's, you know, do I fast or do I do fasted cardio, or do I remove carbs, or do I, you know, let go of bread, or do I, you know, stay off dairy, and all these things that people are doing that are sometimes so extreme that they can't do for more than 3 to 4 weeks. Common sense will tell you, if you allow it to, that if you can't do it for more than 3 to 4 weeks, how long do you expect those results to stay? So like I give the example to clients sometimes of, you know, you can, if there's a leak in your boat and you put a sock in it, I mean, eventually it's still gonna leak. That water is gonna seep through and it's still gonna drown you. If you know, whatever, put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound, eventually it's gonna bleed out. If your hair is blonde, you know, but it was originally black and you dyed it, your roots are going to show eventually. If you're putting a temporary solution on something, then understand that it's only going to last temporarily. So if you do something that you can only keep up for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you're doing some kind of temporary solution to it, then expect and understand that the results are going to be temporary as well. Because again, that's all part of the diet mentality. For some reason, we think we can keep throwing temporary solutions at a problem and reap long-term results. That is the mentality shift that has to happen so that you start actually looking for things that are long-term that you can maintain so that you can actually get results that you can maintain. So that's just another little tidbit there, is that don't expect temporary results. I mean, temporary things to give you permanent results. It mentally, common sense wise, that doesn't make sense.